Robert Mitchell here. If you're new to my channel, I am an author, a martial artist, a seminarian, and a deacon in the old Catholic tradition. So this is an inaugural video of a new series, and I want to try to keep these videos around 20 minutes. So you can make a commitment to that, and if you're really impatient, you can speed up the viewing speed in YouTube and watch me at 1.25, and maybe you can get through this thing in 15. The new series is Christianity for Doubters, and this is going to be episode 1. I think the first thing we should start with is why you need Christianity. So, why do you need Christianity? Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that you need Christianity because Christianity is a system of wisdom. If there's one thing the world is missing right now, it's wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is knowing what to do. So, why do you need Christianity? And I'm going to tell you why you need Christianity, because the world doesn't know what to do, and it needs wisdom. And Christianity is the #1 most popular wisdom tradition in the history of planet Earth. And so, why do we need wisdom? And what are the indicators that we are badly in need of this wisdom tradition? Well, the first problem is that we know that we are in the midst of what John Vervaeke calls the meaning crisis. And what is the meaning crisis? And this is ever increasing levels of suicide, especially among teens, increasing levels of depression, increasing reported feelings of futility, increasing sense of doom, especially in terms of the apocalypse. And so people are not happy. All of this despite the fact that by every measure we can possibly discern, we have raised more people out of poverty in the last 100 years than in the previous 1,000. And we may actually be on the cusp of eliminating extreme poverty completely from the planet. But that doesn't mean that we're happy. We're not. All right? The second reason why we're in need of wisdom is the death of truth. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I hope you already know what I mean by the death of truth, because there's a whole argument right now, and it's been going on for years. In fact, the argument's pretty much over, and that is the whole fake news problem. And so the factions point at the other faction and say that all their news is fake, and no one can seem to figure out what the truth is. If you don't know what the truth is, then you don't know what to do, and wisdom is knowing what to do. And so we used to teach people how to figure out what's true and what's not true, and unfortunately, because of this lack of wisdom, then we see the rise in this sort of thing. Also forgot to mention the loneliness problem, because that's another big thing. I'm going to write that down, because this is another increasingly reported thing. And then the other thing that we need to talk about is the death of participation. Clubs, organizations, and groups are dying left and right because everyone wants to stay on the sofa. You can look at every club, every Rotary club, every organization that you find. The people that are in it are over 50 because young people don't want to participate. So that's a serious problem. And then internal strife inside of nations and states is also a problem. Maybe that's a corollary of the death of truth. But you see increasing splintering and polarization, I guess. So maybe we will add that as a fourth. So we'll come up here and we'll call it polarization. And stagnation. And what is that caused by? Well, what I mean by that? So let's talk about government shutdowns. Let's talk about the 50-50 Brexit problem. Where it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. Half people wanted it, half people didn't want it. A pendulum, the pendulum of politics is more and more radically swinging. So you have one leader who is pretty liberal, then you get a radical shift in some other, and so it's just back and forth and back and forth. And so the polarization to some degree leads to the stagnation. Nothing really gets done. It seems to be all that positive, and yet we just see this fighting and this arguing and this split. All right, so Christianity is a framework that helps you understand these problems and to be able to address them, because it gives your life meaning. It shows you what to do. Now, but let's continue, because I got one more thing I want to talk about, and that is this we're going to feed over into this thing, and this is the virtual problem. And that's what I call the virtual retreat problem. So, the American Psychiatric Association, I think it is, recommends that you spend no more than 2 hours a day on devices. And no more than 2 hours a day on TV. And yet those are uniformly broken by almost everybody. And we see more and more people withdrawing into these environments rather than participating or being happy and doing things in the world, right? So how does Christianity try to address these things? Or how does it address these things? So religions are frameworks, and in the absence of a framework, you'll cling to another framework of understanding the world. So if you think about it, a religion is not just something that has to do with a god or metaphysics or something like that. So you can think of, if you're not going to practice a religion, then you're going to grasp onto some radical political view. You're going to retreat into your devices. You're going to grasp onto the news that fits your framework. You're going to be unhappy. You're going to feel that life is futile because it has no meaning. Feel depressed, to feel lonely, and so forth. So Christianity helps to address these problems. And then I'm going to drop this one final bomb on you, and that is that, and this is something that people need to understand, is that Christianity is not political, and we're going to get into that because Christianity is about you as an individual accessing truth, because Christ is truth, and the truth, in fact, itself. Christ is not a true thing, but the truth itself. And that wells up from beneath. It is not something that you accept blindly, but something that wells up from beneath. And so this lays out somewhat why you need Christianity and why maybe as a doubter you came to this channel, because instinctively you know that something is wrong here. Something is the matter. And I'm here to tell you that Christianity can help you with these problems. And it can help with the world's problems in a way that is incredible and fundamentally important. So stay with me and hold on for the next video in the series. Thanks for watching.